I am Ronald Scott Pontel, the Conservative Caucus of the local Teamsters Union Hall 222. We're here today with my brother, Zachary Angell, and today we're going to talk about what it takes for delegate recruitment. Okay, and it's an important thing in Utah. If we're pro-labor, we need to be active in this field. So we'll let Brother Angell explain to you kind of what needs to happen and why it needs to happen.
So first, what is a delegate? Delegates are people that are elected by more or less their neighborhoods to represent that neighborhood. It's called a precinct. When voting for candidates who are running against other candidates within the same party. So if you're a Republican delegate, you will get to choose between multiple Republicans running in one specific seat, running for one specific seat, or same thing on the Democrat side. There aren't really a lot of delegates in any other parties in Utah, but that's the general ones. And why it's important, because you're getting to choose who is getting to be put in front of the general population for vote. So you get to be the first line in the pick before it goes to the ballot.
Zach, where do we find these potential state delegates who have already had credibility in their precincts, workplaces, communities?
So I think a lot of it's going to be cold calling. I think we're going to be talking to members and seeing who really has showed up for their community, seeing who's put in the work, and if they haven't, we can help them do that.
What qualities matter more in a delegate? Because we're pro-labor, conservative caucus in Utah, right to work state. So it's going to be a little different than it would be in heavily Democratic states, but we are pro-labor, and it's what we're trying to promote. That's why we're trying to get these folks here involved so that we can move the pro-labor forward as conservatives, as a union. All right, so that's important. So how do we quietly identify those pro-labor Republicans?
Like I said, that's going to be a lot of cold calling, talking to our members, and what qualities matter.
What ideology as well?
So ideologies can vary depending on what people are trying to accomplish. For us, I think labor-centric ideology is important.
Of course.
I think that's honestly important for working class people across the board in this country anyway. But I think that the ability to show up, the ability to network, and it's not just I have this skill to network. It's something you can gain. You can definitely, but you have to have interest in networking. It's not easy, and there's a lot of talking to people, going to events, different things, because you want to know everyone that's involved in the process. So it's really willing to devote the time and get to know people.
So is there supposed to be some type of special human being with some innate quality that is supposed to be excellent at this, or is it just your regular everyday human being that has passion about the labor movement?
So that's the cool thing about delegates, is the whole point is that it was supposed to be people, just average folk,
Regular people
that get involved and act as delegates. And the pool isn't always supposed to stay the same either. So it's supposed to include people and get people out there and involved.
Well, if somebody's wondering about getting involved with this, how soon do they need to do that?
So March 27th is caucus night, or not 27th, March 17th. I apologize. St. Patrick's Day is caucus night for both parties, the Democrats and the Republicans. And so really between now and then, you can start thinking about getting involved. Highly recommend it. It's not, there is networking involved, but it's not an overly cumbersome thing to have to do.
So where are they supposed to go if they want to get started?
So you can contact your county party is probably the best way. Like Salt Lake County, I am a delegate with the Democrats. So through the Salt Lake County Democrats, I was able to get plugged into everything. They usually post the caucus nights, and where they're located ends up getting usually posted online, at least for the Democrats. I'd have to check for the Republicans, but I would assume they also post online where they're going to be, because every precinct's going to be different, and you'll show up to your precinct.
Okay. How how difficult was it to get involved in that process? I mean, to get in there, get yourself known, and actually, get people to know what you're about.
It really wasn't that difficult for me, though I will say it is easier in the Democratic Party in Utah than it is in the Republican Party because more people participate in the Republican Party. So when you're trying to become a delegate, you're in your precinct, your neighborhood, and you're up against other people who might want to also be a delegate. And in the Republican Party, that's going to be a bigger field, a bigger group of people. But I wouldn't say it's overwhelmingly difficult. And you can bring your friends, your neighbors to come support you is a good way to get elected as
Maybe
well.
people from your hall.
Yeah.
That would work. So what is it that most delegates, their first time, what do they most commonly misunderstand about the process, and what should they correct early?
I think the big thing is honestly they don't even know the process exists. And then it's just kind of, for me, I fumbled through it and I learned. But it's how to get involved in caucuses. There's a bunch of different caucuses in both parties. I'm on the board of one in the Democratic Party, but getting involved in caucuses is a good way to get in the know about everything. And really, again, it's networking. It's just getting to know the people that are involved, the candidates, delegates, how the process functions. It's not very difficult. You're literally just voting for candidates that are against other candidates before they either go to primary or to the ballot. So.
Okay, and is that the caucus you're ahead of? Is that the caucus that you're involved with right now?
So the caucus I'm involved with is the Stonewall Caucus. It's the LGBTQ Democrats. I also attend the Labor Caucus as well, obviously union. And I would like to get involved with a bipartisan caucus. I've not attended any blue collar caucus, but I actually do want to get involved in that as well.
Okay, that's something we should absolutely discuss. Absolutely. How do we train delegates on rules?
So Robert's Rules is the big one. You can do trainings. Different organizations do trainings. We're going to be building out a training, but Robert's Rules is the general guide to everything that is both unions and politics. They all run off of Robert's Rules, and even corporations and many organizations.
It's a very good way to hold meetings, especially if you think that they might be disrupted or become unruly or something like that. Parliamentary process has been around for a very long time, and that's because people have been having problems running meetings for a very long time. So it is somewhat detailed, but just to get things going, a basic overview isn't too hard to understand with a little bit of time and effort. There's plenty of books, there's plenty of stuff on YouTube, plenty of stuff online. You're not going to have to spend a lot of money to get a basic overview. So, and he was just telling me, it's a little bit off subject, that he's going to go to a parliamentary procedural qualifier school.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the test. It takes about 6 months to learn the material, and then you take a test, you get certified, and then I'll be an official parliamentarian. And you recertify every, I think, 2 years. I'll have to check on that. Don't take it as gospel.
All right, we will check into that. I'm going to ask a question to him that I should probably be answering. But how do we frame pro-labor positions so they align with Republican values rather than trigger resistance? You want to answer that?
So for me, I think there's a few real key ones, especially in Utah. Firstly, it's quality work. I mean, at the end of the day, unions always do a better job, and we can show that. We have a track record of it. The next is talking to the working class. The working class makes up the majority of everywhere. I mean, we are the people. So I think speaking about the working class and to the working class is how we can really get hopefully some voices changed or get new voices within either party, and working families. I think especially in Utah, the family is important. And we went from a day when we used to have single earner households that could be just one income could support the entire family. And a lot of that was due to unions. And in Utah, that's important. That's an important value to Utahns, to be able to have one parent at home taking care of the kids, typically the wife, but have a parent at home that's taking care of kids. I think that's a important thing.
I think everybody can agree on that,
Yeah.
honestly. And, being a union guy and a conservative, there's a reason I'm pro-labor as a conservative guy, okay? And that is because of families. It's because better pay, better benefits, health benefits, retirement, everything out there that you're looking for in a job, when you're in a union, it's just better. Across the board, it's just better. And my favorite thing is arbitration, so they can't just fire you for no reason. Okay, that's a different story. So anyway, but what's the minimum level of preparation a delegate must have before walking into a convention?
Okay, so this one I feel is a pretty loaded question, because I would also include caucus in that, because I think caucus is the important first step. So getting them to know existing delegates, getting them to know candidates, and even just your neighbors, I think is important. Getting your neighbors to attend the caucus night to help vote for you, because everyone in your precinct that's a member of that party is going to get to vote. And again, that's on March 17th this year. Then once you get to convention, Robert's Rules is really the big thing, I think. You'll learn the process. Again, there will be times throughout the convention when you'll be asked to go to different meetings or to vote on different things. I can only speak to the Democratic Party because I've never done convention for the Republicans. But usually in the morning, there's caucuses that get together. And so you can go attend any of them. Anyone can. And in the Democratic Party, anyone that's in that group can vote, even if they aren't part of the board or anything of that caucus. But there's caucuses like the Labor Caucus, Stonewall Caucus, Veterans Caucus, all kinds, Hispanic Caucus. There's all kinds of different caucuses within the Democratic Party. And again, there'll be different caucuses within the Republican Party. And you get to sit in, you get to hear candidates speak, you'll get to endorse candidates, and only delegates get to endorse. They will give you a placard that says that you're a delegate, so your vote counts, and you'll get to endorse in those meetings. And those endorsements are important. Sometimes they come with money for these candidates, which of course is important to their success as a candidate. And overall, they're showing your support for them. So you get to decide who. Not only do you later that day get to vote on whether that candidate or this candidate moves forward, but you're also putting weight behind the candidate that you want by getting them endorsements. So those are the main parts of the convention, is the endorsements and then the actual vote on the candidates themselves.
So let's say you get a delegate and he's in the process and he's in there, he starts to get some external pressure trying to guide him away from the reason he was elected as a delegate. How do you keep him on course?
So I think having a lot of delegates is important, because the more delegates you have, the more voice you have to help guide them. But also, if they're taking endorsements from a union, which there are unions that endorse, including our own, we have a political action committee that does endorse and give money to candidates. But to be clear, that's not out of dues. I brought that up earlier.
You can't take it out of the dues.
Dues cannot be used for political purposes. So that money is the money that within the Teamsters, it's money we give to drive. That's the money that ends up getting to the candidates themselves. But I think the big thing is talking to the candidates. They will listen if you take the time. They might not always come back your way, but you should be making time to speak with the candidates and make sure they understand what's important.
That's what that coordination looks like between the delegate and the candidate himself, is making sure that everybody's on the same page. So the delegate, he's the one that votes for the candidate, right?
Yes.
Okay. So
In the first level.
in the first level,
Before it goes to either a primary or the ballot. And the primary you can only have if you've gathered the requisite number of signatures. And then even if you lose in convention, you can still go to primary, which is on its own ballot. And then whoever wins from that goes to the eventual ballot, where it's the Republican, Democrat, and other candidates from other parties.
all right. How do we prepare delegates to advocate for those candidates inside the caucuses and floor discussions?
It's going to be a lot of training them, and we want to build out trainings too, so that which is something Central Federation of Labor does, is a Union 101, so that they can come and they can learn what's important to us, what is our history, what are our goals and our needs, and the good thing about that is that unions are the only organization that is lobbying on behalf of working people. There is no other group that does that for working people. And so it's important for us to be that voice for working people. Here's
Absolutely.
what we need. We need prevailing wage. We need these different things. We need protections for this or whatever. Almost all of the great things that have helped the general population of the United States came from unions.
How do we keep that messaging open between the delegate, the members, and the candidates themselves? How do we keep that education open? How do we get people interested into paying attention to those things?
So that's going to be hard, because
It is.
ultimately people have to want to look out for their self-interest, because it is in your interest to be a delegate. It is beneficial to you specifically as a person, your family, your extended family, your neighbors, your friends. So there is a lot of importance there, but it's communicating that to people.
It sounds like we're going to have an organization, an organizational effort to get that message out to everybody, and we will, as Teamsters and as pro-labor people. We want that to be. We organize. We're Teamsters. It's what we do. Okay.
Yep.
So
Always.
all right, let's go down here. And this is a question, all right, that is very important. How do we challenge anti-labor incumbents without creating unnecessary party infighting?
I honestly don't think that you can always do that. We can try, but we can't always do that. I think stacking the delegates is one way. It's not a very well liked method, but stacking the delegates is something that even Governor Cox did this last cycle, is getting people to be delegates that were going to support him over Lyman. So there's that, and really pushing our own field of candidates is going to be important as well. I don't think that it really comes with a lot of infighting. There are politics that I've seen that can create infighting, but the labor's really just the working class voice,
Just regular blue collar people.
and I think if you're not in touch with that, you might as well just kick rocks anyway.
Yeah, something they want you to believe is something I've heard my whole life, being, a blue collar guy, is they want you to think unions are horrible. Unions are going to break you. Merit is more important than, collectively bargained agreements. It's simply not true. All right. And that's why I am pro-labor and why I belong to a union, and why, if you're a blue collar guy, you should absolutely, let your walls down a little bit as a conservative and actually listen to what the unions do for people, not can do. They do every day. I fight for my people almost every single day. Okay, middle of the night, when I'm at work, when I'm off work, on holidays, I get calls all the time, and that is simply to represent my guys. Okay, and that's the whole reason we're doing this, is because we believe in this enough to actually come in on a day off and put this thing together and ask questions. And we are coordinating before we even started this video, we spent at least an hour trying to coordinate some organizational efforts and make plans on how to get these delegates involved, how to get you involved. Okay, and we plan on being involved, and we want to make sure that the blue collar people in Utah are well educated and taken care of so they can't be taken advantage of by corporations and companies. And this anti-labor pushback that we seem to get a lot of the time, if you really look into it, it's rhetoric. It's not based in fact. Okay, it's an ideology of its own. And when you really look at the facts and you care about what your best interest is and the best interest of your family, that's going to be something you're going to be very interested in if you join a Teamsters union. And to get these delegates, if you're thinking about being a delegate or something because this interests you, please give us a call. Come on over, DM me, DM him. All right, get involved, look into it. So
I was going to say to that point of them saying that it should be merit based. I find that language frustrating because it insinuates that you can't have merit and be union, which is just wholly untrue.
That's true.
But I also wanted to add the two talking points that drive me the most nuts. First, that dues is theft. We're in right to work state, so you choose to pay dues.
Yeah.
You also get, on average, a 10 to 20% wage increase in a union job over the rest of that industry.
I think the average is 15, so that's accurate.
And the average for dues is only 1 to 2%. So you're actually making up to 18% more money regardless of the dues. What was the other big one is, oh my goodness. It doesn't matter. We can move to the next question.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's kind of along the same lines. It's like, what metrics tell us we're actually building power rather than just surviving an election?
I think it's growth over time. I think that's what's really going to show it. In my experience, the organizations that succeed don't grow really big, really fast. They grow decently year after year.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's going to be the best metric to show that we're succeeding, is not just as individuals or as a union, but as a community, is really seeing that number increasing over time.
So I think a slow build over time is more proven, time tested. And I think when you spike fast, you burn out fast. I see a lot of that. There's going to be, there's delegate drift, and there's several other things we could talk about as far as that stuff goes. We want to keep this a little bit shorter of a video. It's already 22 minutes in. So if leadership changes tomorrow, does this delegate operation still function?
So this is a caucus. So this caucus is independent from the union. So it would still function. I'm assuming you mean the union itself?
Yes.
So the caucus would still be able to fill delegates. We can even do it as an individual effort. It's not reliant on the union. It's always better when we're all working together. But regardless of who's in charge, we can always still be doing this for the labor movement. I mean, I got involved as a delegate for the Democratic Party, and I don't believe I was on the board of that. I was just doing it because I believe in labor, and so I wanted to push that. I'm still trying to get voices to focus more on working class language and what's important to the working class, because I really think that going forward that's going to be the focus, and I really don't care which party is doing it as long as it's being done.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. I'm just pro-labor, man. Let's take care of people. What really matters? Families. That's what really matters. It's the whole reason we're doing this. All right. And I got the final question here. If we win this cycle, what specifically did we do right? If we lose, where did the failure occur?
So it's pretty simple. We either organized or we didn't. So we were either union or we weren't.
Yeah. Either you took care of business or you stayed at home and complained about everything. You want to do that. You don't want to be that person, do you? I don't think so. So, all right, look, we're going to seal it up right there. I'll try to do another video next week, and we will continue on this subject. We've got some organizing meetings that we still have to have. The president's involved, our vice president's involved. There's a lot of people involved. So, but we'll try to keep you updated on the news, and please do reach out. Okay, Zachary Angell, recording secretary at the local 222 in Salt Lake City. Ronald Scott Pontillo. I'm just a dude. Okay, head of the Conservative Caucus. Okay, so reach out. Let us know what you need. Okay, thank you. Take care.